Thanks for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. Today is Thursday, January the 8th, and I have a lot of news to tell you. Our stories today span history, culture, politics, and pop, from groundbreaking milestones for LGBTQ plus elders in London to powerful words from a major pushing back against ICE, to major wins and tensions in trans-inclusive education, and a deep dive into the newly announced GLAAD Media Award nominees. We're also going to check in Madonna's nostalgic-fueled rollout, Bowen Yang's candid reflections on leaving Saturday Night Live, and a reminder of how community shows up in moments that could have been tragic. So let's get into it. Where our first story is in the UK, where the first queer retirement community opens. A historic milestone for LGBTQ plus elders has officially been reached in London. This week, Tonic Eck Bankhouse became fully occupied, welcoming its final residents into the UK's first queer retirement community. Located along the Albert Embankment, the development is designed specifically for older LGBTQ plus people, not as a niche luxury, but as a response for long-standing fears that many queer elders carry out about aging. For generations who lived through criminalization, the AIDS crisis, and the decades of discrimination, the idea of entering a traditional care home often comes with fear of having to go back into the closet. Tonic Housing, now the UK's first LGBTQ plus specific housing association, is working to change that reality. The community emphasizes dignity, chosen family, and care that is affirming of queer and trans identities, allowing residents to age openly, safely, and without erasure. And that was from BBC News and The Guardian. Our next story is John Whaite shares near fatal accident. So the personality and former Great British Bake Off winner John Whaite is recovering after being hit in an accident that doctors say could have been fatal. Whaite shared that a stranger, whom he described as some angel of a human, wrapped him in a coat and stayed with him until help arrived. Doctors later told him that the physical strength likely saved his life, saying, "Thank God, you're 16 stone of muscle." Now on the mend, Whaite expressed gratitude not only for his recovery, but for the compassion of a stranger who refused to leave his side. Next, Madonna's strategic return to joy. As we begin 2026, Madonna is preparing to release her 15th studio album, a sequel to her 2005 disco classic, Confessions on a Dance Floor. Before the new era officially arrives, Madonna has been feeding fans a steady stream of archival releases. While last summer Veronica Electronica underwhelmed some listeners, the fall release of Bedtime Stories: The Untold Chapter reignited excitement. The momentum continued with the 20th anniversary digital edition of Confessions, complete with bonus tracks and remixes. Together, these releases have reframed the narrative, reminding fans, critics, and perhaps even Madonna herself of joy, experimentation, and cultural dominance that defined her legacy. I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing album, and I can't wait for it. Next story is Minneapolis mayor condemns ICE after shooting. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey delivered a fire response this week following a shooting involving ICE agents. The incident occurred when a woman was shot in the head by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents while driving a van. Speaking at a press conference, Frey made it clear that ICE is not welcome in his city. Addressing the agency directly, he said, "You've stated reasons for being here as safety, and you're doing exactly the opposite." The remarks underscore growing tension between local governments and federal immigration enforcement, particularly in cities that identify as sanctuaries. Next, trans-inclusive school policies spark backlash in Maine. Maine School Administrative District 60 recently approved 2 trans-inclusive policies, allowing trans students to use bathrooms aligned with their gender identity and classifying intentional misgendering as. Following the decision, the district announced an increased police presence on campus. Officials cited unsettling and concerning online comments directed at school board members and their families. The situation highlights the real-world consequences educators face when implementing inclusive policies, even as advocates stress that protecting trans students' safety and dignity remains essential. Next, the GLAAD Media Awards 2026 nominations are announced. GLAAD has unveiled the nominees for the 37th Annual GLAAD Media Awards, recognizing 291 projects across more than 30 categories that shaped LGBTQ+ visibility throughout 2025. The nominees span film, television, music, podcasts, journalism, gaming, and Spanish-language media, reinforcing that queer stories are no longer niche but central to cultural conversation. Notable titles include Heated Rivalry, of course, Abbott Elementary, Hacks, Severance, Stranger Things, RuPaul's Drag Race, The Traitors, and The View. Music nominees range from Conan Gray and Renee Rapp to Elton John, Brandi Carlile, and Lady Gaga. GLAAD President and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis emphasized that inclusive storytelling continues to resonate globally, particularly in moments of political and cultural pressure. Next, Bowen Yang opens up about leaving SNL. Comedian Bowen Yang has spoken candidly about his decision to leave Saturday Night Live after 7 seasons. Appearing on the Las Culturas podcast, Yang said he stayed exactly as long as I wanted to, despite describing the entertainment industry as deeply turbulent. He also addressed criticism that he lacked range, calling the concept a myth rooted in fallibility and whiteness. Yang explained that he entered SNL pre-sketched, pre-dyed, meaning audiences and critics already had fixed expectations of who he was allowed to be. His reflections sparked wider conversation about race, queerness, and limitations placed on performers who don't fit traditional molds. And that was reported by Entertainment Weekly. And that's the stories for today, spanning history, culture, politics, and ongoing fight for visibility and dignity. As always, I want to thank you for listening. Thanks for sharing these conversations and staying engaged with stories that shape our community. I will be back tomorrow with an overview podcast story that has been resonating, and I will do a deep dive into it. If you think this episode will resonate with somebody you know, please be sure to share it, and thanks for listening.